I think that we are good to start. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome on our webinar dedicated to EctiveXtract. We will be speaking today mainly about intelligent document processing, but before that, to speak about this whole topic, let me quickly bring the light of who we are and why we can actually speak about it. So I have only one slide about Ective. Ective has been founded in 2018. We are over 50 people in a company. Mainly, back in the past, we were focusing on process automation. As of today, it is more complex practice of digital transformation, which includes process improvement, workflows, automation, data, and AI. I am 4 times UiPath MVP, also recognized as Forbes 30 under 30. On the right side, you can see some of our customer logos. There are many more in our portfolio. Some of them I see also joining. So hello today. And yeah, and as the services company, we definitely can say that we know what your experience is with document understanding because we were implementing that. And let's have a quick look on how it feels for you being in a business to implement the document understanding or intelligent document processing, however you call it. So first of all, you are always asked to provide with the documents. So as a business, and back in the past with the practice, you were asked to provide as many documents as possible because they are needed for the development and then later for training. So, and once you provide the documents, it turns into, I would say, a black box. What I mean by that is that you don't know what is happening behind the scenes. So developers just promise you some deadline or some timeline, and you have to wait. You have to wait and hope that it will look good. Then afterwards, once the implementation is done, there is a model training, and model training is usually split in 2 parts. So first part is when developers themselves are training the model, and then the second part is when actually business is allowed to train the model as well. So it takes some time. We sort of claim that it is in production, but it is not yet because we are still, in quotation marks, we are training the model, yeah? And then we have trained the model, we go to production, and you know all these challenges and struggles when the layout changes. It was mainly applicable with the traditional OCR document understanding tools, where you were training also coordinates. So the tool was trying to memorize where the customer address is, where the customer logo is, etc. And whenever something is changing the location or the structure or the layout, then everything breaks, and then you need to retrain the model again for a particular template. And last but not least, imagine that you go to production and everything is good, but you forgot one field, or the field has a different data type or anything else. Of course, any change in the code is more waiting and also more cost because developers need to adjust it in scripts, in codes, etc. And you are not able to do these changes yourself. You always need to go back to development team and actually ask them for it. And here, why we can speak about this is on the left side, you can see vendors with which we are currently, as we speak, we have the ongoing collaboration. So we work with Abby as an implementation partner. We work with Abby, with Rossum, with UiPath, with Microsoft. And then interesting thing happened, I think, 2022 in November when GPT was released. When the GPT was released or publicly released, and after very short time, they added also attachment functionality. And once they added the attachment functionality, people started to experiment with the different documents attaching, etc., including also document extraction. And you could have seen, if you didn't see, you can give it a try yourself. It provides quite good results out of the box. So if you send the invoice to GPT and ask, okay, provide me a header data or address of the customer, it will be able to extract it quite well. But what the GPT or any sort of LLM misses is verification station. So if something is recognized wrong or not recognized at all, you cannot tell the model where and what is wrong and correct it. Secondly, the documentation portal, because you do not want your SMEs, your users, to actually spend time in chat and have everything like back and forth communication. And last but not least is a learning mechanism. What I mean by learning mechanism is you may, in some cases, if there is a correction, you may correct it on one document, but whenever you send the document again and again to GPT, it may have more or less the same issue repeating, and you need to send really a lot of documents to make sure that the system learns properly. And this is where we've seen the gap, and we decided to close this gap with our product. For around LLM, we have built a verification station, document portal, learning mechanism, and very robust algorithm for document extraction. And this is how the EctiveXtract was born. So when we were designing the tool, we were thinking, what is the desired user experience? Yeah, so what our users want from us. And first and foremost, we can speak about the verification station and all the user experience, etc. But first and foremost, you need the quality of extraction, because if quality of the extraction is good and recognition level is high, you actually don't need any interface. Documents are just passing automatically and appearing in your ERP system or wherever you need them. So first and foremost, it is extraction quality. Then assuming that some documents are still not passing 100%, what is reality of our business, and then you need to make sure that you don't need hundreds of documents to learn, but you really want to have prompt and fast learning. Then the next one is reality says that you don't only have the extraction from the document, but you often need to connect it with the master data. Means that, okay, you may have an address, but is this address shipped to, sold to, does it belong to your customer or vendor, or doesn't belong? So all these things can be linked with the master data. And we were thinking that the modern document understanding tool has to have master data connection available. And then these are the backend. So if you look at the top of the screen, so these are the backend functionality. And down here, we have a front end functionality. Yeah. So assuming that we already have to go for some sort of improvements or corrections in the documents, what would be the user experience? How would it look like? Yeah. And then once you do apply different changes, are the results better? Are they improving or are they getting worse? So we also foreseen some reporting in the solution. And last but not least, even though this session is dedicated to business, we still, and this last section of configuration experience is there not by mistake, because one of the desired functionalities that we solve is that users, business users themselves, would be able to actually configure the document types, the fields, etc., apply basic changes in the flow, not only be an end user, but actually have a possibility to somehow affect the solution. So we have provided also a configuration experience, which is business friendly configuration experience. So it means that business users can do the changes themselves. And speaking of that, like each of these blocks will be represented as an item of agenda in our presentation. So I will start with the extraction quality, then discuss the learning, master data, user experience, reporting, and configuration experience. By the way, just a quick reminder, if there will be any questions to any of the slides, you can also ask on the go, but there will be also a dedicated Q&A on the end of the session. So let's start. Speaking of extraction quality, even though there are many fans of large language models, LLMs, be it GPT, Gemini, or whatever else, Anthropic, very important thing to mention is that these large language models are still built for more conversational experience, and they are already doing a great progress in many areas, in coding, in information extraction, etc. But still, by purpose, consciously, we do not use LLMs for information extraction. We still use traditional OCR, and I will later elaborate on why we are doing so. We are still using a traditional OCR to extract the information, to understand exactly where the coordinates are, to make sure that we are extracting the right information, as well as language support. Yeah, so we are often using Microsoft OCR, which has over 100 languages support, including Mandarin, Arabic, etc. So all the challenging types of documents we were testing already and know that it performs quite well. But we do use LLM. Once we extract the information, we do use LLM for understanding the data. Means that once we have for example, the address already, and we don't know it is address, it is just a combination of the words and digits, we ask LLM to categorize this information, and here LLM does really good work. So either we speak about address, tables, amounts, etc. So LLM is then correctly categorizing the information, and there is it is a simplified slide saying, okay, OCR extracts, LLM understands, but there is a multi-layer of prompts and code executions to make sure that we are getting right information out of your documents. And we are confident in over 90% recognition rate out of the box. So meaning that without any additional trainings, if we do a demo for you for your 10 documents, within the 10 documents, we usually see in our demos the recognition level close to 90% without advanced model pre-training or anything like that. Okay, but let's move on to the further in extraction quality. When designing the solution, of course, like everyone speaks about the invoices, yeah. So, and invoices, they call it structured or semi-structured type of the document, but we didn't want to limit us on the so-called happy path or fancy scenarios, but we wanted to give our tool hard times. And by hard times, I mean that we were thinking of all different challenges or functionalities which even us we were missing when implementing it for our customers. And here what EctiveXtract supports out of the box are tables, checkboxes, different types of handwriting, and I speak about the handwriting, not hand printed information where you write really nice letters. I will show you also today that we will have a demo with the handwriting. It supports the signature recognition, different formats of the dates, times, financial operations with different decimals, etc. So all those quite known challenges with the limiters are already addressed in the tool, and anything else. Yeah, so we are supporting any type of the information recognition in a document. Then, speaking of the document types, again, you see contracts, financial documents, medical documents, shipment documents, and this is just to boost the imagination. But anyway, and later you will see it in my demo, you can create your document type. So it can be like your mom's recipes, which is creating in very special format and fully handwritten, would be still possible to train in a model relatively fast to get it all extracted. And last but not least, as I mentioned, over 100 languages are supported because we are not building our own language layer or OCR layer. We are well combining existing technologies on the market, what many other products do as well. And we have more than 100 languages support, which can be also provided with official Microsoft documentation. So this is about the extraction quality. Let's move on to the next part of my presentation, speed of learning. What I want to say about the speed of learning and learning overall. So System learns from your corrections, means that there is a layer which is recognizing if you apply any correction in a document, and in 2 or 3 slides, we will start already a partial demo. System learns from any correction that the user does and recognizes the learning material already from the first correction. So again, you do not need to train, like if you speak about so-called layout, which by the way, this solution is a layout free or template free. So we are not trying to scope the documents into particular layouts, though you can still split them in classes. But per layout, so-called, you do not need to have 10 or 20 or I don't know, 100 documents straight. From the first correction, it already recognizes it and remembers what you were changing in the document. So next time when the similar layout document arrives, you will see already that system will first try to recognize it in the document, and then it will also compare if there was any learning to this type of documents in the past. And less than 10 documents are needed to train the model. When it comes to like model improvement, etc. Again, like we wanted, having our previous experience with the document understanding, we wanted to have a relatively smooth and fast experience in go to production journey for our users. And then last but not least, in this backend section, you may have a fancy recognition, you may have a good recognition rate, etc., but it is only half of the work if you do not have master data. And master data, it is not only about the final check or comparison, etc. I think that you need to have master data in several different places. And today on the demo, I will show you how we are working with the master data in the document extraction. So, but you are able to connect your master data either from SAP, Oracle, wherever you have it in ERP, or just have outsourced SQL database to which you can decide what information goes into and update it on a frequent basis, be it like every hour, every day, etc. And then the tool can connect there and extract the information needed. And then this is the first part. We connect to the master data, but then how do we use it? So first of all, before we extract the information, or while extracting the information before we are showing it to user, we will check if, for example, all the addresses and other information is matching with the ship to, sold to, and other parameters in ERP. Then we will be able to display this information on a screen. So on a screen, you will see not only the information from the document, but also the information from the master data. So you can have your address from the document combined with the ship to or sold to from the master data, which obviously often is not in the document itself. And then directly from the verification station, you have a possibility to look up and search for the master data, because sometimes you realize that it is wrong ship to, and you need to change the other one. So we don't want our users to go to SAP, Oracle, or any other ERP and start searching for the correct number. You can directly from the comfort of the verification station, just click one button and have all your SAP data or all your ERP data available on one click. And then last but not least, we use master data not only for information gathering and extraction, but also for business rules. So you may create a business rule saying if customer ABC is flagged with this tag, or it is from this region or anything like that, send it for manual processing or apply additional rules here, etc. So we use master data also for business rules creation in our solution. And now it is time to have a look on our user experience. And our user experience will be split in several areas. So I will start with the document portal. And again, here I can speak a lot about it, etc. But probably you are curious to see it. That's why I'll just bring it on the screen. I assume you can see now the tool itself. It is written EctiveXtract demo. So just maybe some of you can just drop the confirmation in the chat if you can see the EctiveXtract page. And how it works is, yeah, so we will step by step go through each and every component of the document portal. What I want to highlight is that as nowadays companies already have a different document management systems in place, we decided that the tool will be able to integrate with those systems. And as of today, we provide the core experience in Notion. Also, we have a Power Apps available. So if your organization is running on Microsoft, you can have all this experience in Microsoft ecosystem itself. And then how it looks. First of all, we provide you with the options of segregation of the environments, and those segregations may be on a document type level. So invoices, good receipts, purchase orders, whatever the document types level. It can be geography. It can be also departments, yes, so or combination of departments and geography, etc. You are the one who will be able to create your areas yourself, and then able to decide what users have an access to what system. So, for example, here, if you give an access to particular people only for a few of the blocks you see, they will not see the rest. So they would not click and then realize that, okay, I don't have an access in there, or what everything is happening in the purchase orders area, but they will not see the block at all. So they wouldn't even know that it exists. Yeah. And then if we go into the system, so the next part which I want to quickly have a look at is, let me just close the filters here. So the document portal itself. What we can see in a document portal is that you have a possibility to create the different views. So for example, you can see only open documents, which are still to be processed. You can see only closed, all, and you can create your view relatively easy because for each and every column that you, for example, you can create the view for documents that have more than one page or more than 10 pages, etc. You can create your views based on any of the columns here. So for example, I could create the view which is supporting only automatically processed documents or only manually processed documents. Yeah, so all these filters are available on a click, and we wanted not to have like rocket science around configuring this document, but we wanted to provide you with all this experience of setting up the documents and the views yourself. But let's quickly have a look on what everything our document portal has. It starts with the file name. So you will always be able to see the file name, what pages are extracted, and later we will speak about the pages and about the classification of the pages. But you can clearly see from what pages we are getting the information, how many there are in total in a given view. Yeah, so we have a different view and we may have a different information in there. Then verification link. So this link is stored in here, but sometimes we embed the solution directly to the ERPs, and then the link is not present here, but it is directly embedded in the ERP, and you can do the verification from there. Comments, because we do have some business rules, and if any of the information is missing, you will see directly in the comments. You don't need to even open the document. Extraction status, if it was automatic or manual. Document type, status, and we can also add the custom statuses to you. And then total fields in a document and total fields extracted. So I split this demo in the two parts of financial documents and the CVs. For the CVs, the expectation of the fields extraction is that we have the work experience, we have the hobbies, we have the languages, skills, etc. So it expects all the types of the information, even though some of the information is not present in the CV. So we'll later see the extraction percentage for the CVs itself. And some other metadata. But let's continue and have a look further on what the experience is for the extraction. So I will shift to the presentation, and we have seen already the areas, which was here, the views and columns configuration. Now let's have a look on the extraction itself. So I will show you few samples of that document extraction. So I will really open. Some of them are with a nicer quality, some of them are with a worse quality. So we will see how actually it looks. So I have the first document. This is from my business travel, so I can freely use it. Here, what you can see in EctiveXtract verification station. So you will always see the document name. You can zoom in, zoom out, or rotate the document. You can download the document directly from here. And then looking at the document, what is interesting is, so here you have the document itself, and on the right side, you have all the fields corresponding to this document. And any field you click, it will show you where the information comes from. Yeah, so you will be able to identify where the information comes from the document. It will be highlighted with this yellow rectangle. And then imagining that, for example, some of the information is not recognized correctly. So I will remove this information. Let's say that street is not here. I am able to just drag and drop the mouse and like hover the information, and any of the information that I'm hovering will be also taken into the consideration. So here, for example, and if I need, I can also type my text on top of it. And then I have two options. Either I copy it to clipboard or I insert it directly in the field, yeah? And if I did a mistake, I can always return to the original field which we were taking. Once I would press submit, this information would go also to the learning set and will train the system to, for next time, to remember the correction that I have done. Same thing happens for the line items. Probably like I would jump through the different types of the documents and show you on the line items also here. So the interesting thing about this document, it is done in a different language. Also, it is not the invoice, but I think that it is a delivery note. And here you can see each and every line item is in separate tabs. So we have a separate tab for the line items, and you can create and design your tabs. So today I will be showing you how you can design your tabs in EctiveXtract, but every single information in a document is highlighted from where you extracted. And again, if amount for whatever reason is wrong, so if we need to take not the amount without VAT, but with VAT, you will be able just to take it and insert the information in there. And then again, if you press correct, it would be considered. One interesting thing is, which we will get to later on, is that we have possibility also to separately identify the tax, the total amounts, etc. And if the tax information is not there, or for example, the tax information is not there, but amount without tax is there, system would automatically calculate it, and it would calculate it. For example, if you miss the tax column but you have the amount with and without tax, it would calculate the tax percentage itself, as well as vice versa. If you, for example, have the total amount and tax but don't have the without tax, it would calculate the amount itself. So it is able to do the calculations and additionally populate the fields which are there. Yeah. So this is I would say the happy path. Yeah. So when everything looks good. So here is the extraction experience. You can do many things with that. But let's see how it looks when it is not so happy path. Yeah. So when the picture is not that perfect. So first of all, we have a scan document, which we can clearly see that some of the fields are not that well visible. For example, here is the address of the hotel, and I would give a try to see how it is extracting. Yes, so you can say a Bahnhof, an address and everything is well recognized, even though it is not that well visible. Same thing here. So we can give a try to IBAN, and we can see that it is recognizing it quite well, even though the information is not the best visible for this document. And now let's have a look on the handwriting also. So I have some handwriting. I have some bad quality in the digital format. I have a different types of the handwriting. So let's have a look probably on this one. And then later we will proceed further to the classification functionalities. So this is a digital bad recognition, yeah, and here I can go ahead, select the text, and we can see that it is well recognized also with so-called diacritics, which is the case for Slovak, Czech, I think also Polish, German language. Many languages have like other than English alphabet letters, which are well handled and recognized also in the tool itself. And whenever you will miss any information on the document, it will be highlighted by red, as well as the tab will be also in red. So you will know that you need to pay additional attention to this field, and it will also affect the overall calculation of preciseness. But let's have a look on handwriting. Yeah, so this is the scan document, and usually the solutions, OCR solutions, were well focusing on the printed text. So it is or printed handwriting. So you can see that these are the handwritten letters, but very fancy handwritten letters. Yeah. So if I highlight it, it is telling me that it is a printed text. And here, what I call this is my writing, so I was, to not offend anyone, I was printing this document, writing on it, and scanning it again. This is what I call the ugly writing, and there are different types of ugly writing. So this is some bad writing I was putting in here, yeah. And here is, for example, the new date for the I don't know if it is delivery or whatever it is, invoicing date. And as you can see, it was able to recognize my handwriting, and I can also go for the parts of the information. Yeah, so it is not that somehow pre-prepared scope, but you can really handle any handwriting in a document. And I will show you more handwriting in a moment. In the meantime, there is one question, and question is, for the information extraction, is it possible to translate items from the original language to preferred language? Also, is it possible to have automatic currency exchange calculation? The second question, the first question for the translation, I will answer later in the presentation because there will be a dedicated session for the parameterization and configuration. Answering your second question, it is absolutely possible to have the currency exchange calculation. Nevertheless, it is important to have it connected from the master data because we do not want to rely on LLM providing your exchange rate or just guessing it from GPT hallucination or something like that. So it is important that we would have some table reference from which we will be pulling this data, unless you say that we need to take them from the open source, like, I don't know, Google or anywhere else. So once you point it to the right exchange rate, we are able definitely to connect it. And then the second question will be answered later, so I will show you. Next thing I want to show you in this extraction experience is that we have a document which consists of more than one page. So for example, here we have three different document types or three different documents which are distributed along the three different pages. And the first two are invoices and the third one is a credit note. So, and let me show you how the system handles such cases. And then we will be also focusing more on other documents. So I have opened the file, which consists of three different scan documents. And whenever I click on any field, it would automatically bring me to the document because we don't know now to what document, to what document this information belongs. So just by clicking on a field, it would automatically scroll to the right document. And here I can continue working with the file itself. Yeah. So here is again the handwriting handling, and also I prepared some more samples of the handwriting. So here is English paying cash, but here is also the Slovak version, which says like platba v hotovosti, which is same saying but in Slovak language, and you can see that it extracts well the handwriting also when it comes in different languages, and again if it comes with the diacritics or anything like that, it is able to handle it. Also here we have a signature which looks like a writing, or down we have some stamp which we also may play with, though it is quite visible. So I think that we had also worse stamps back in the past. Yeah. So this gives you a sense of how the extraction experience works. And the last thing I want to show you in the extraction experience is, or maybe like two last things, are the master data connection, and let's have a look on some of the CVs. Yeah, so let's take a look on, and here we have a percentage. So let's have a look on something recognized nicer. So we will open this CV. CVs, by the way, are from the internet. These are the dummy CVs, so we are not taking any personal information in here. Yeah, so it is the open from the internet CV. Then what I want to show you is, so speaking of the master data, imagine that you have your master data connected to the SAP, and we want you to be able to see this information directly in your system. Yeah, so directly in the verification station. So let's imagine that the address is wrong in here, and we want to change it to the different one, or we know this vendor, or we want to search by ship to. So I just press on this button on a search, and if I type, for example, Poland, yeah, so Pol, P-O-L, it will find all the information from the master data where this combination of letters P-O-L is available. And as you can see, it searches across all the columns. So I will be able to find it anyhow. So for example, here we have this Freitag. So if I write Fry, it will be able to find exactly the record which I'm looking for. If I click on it, the interesting thing is it shows me all the information related to this vendor in this case. If I press on insert, it updates all the information which is related and associated with this vendor. So I don't need to click one by one, but street, zip code, city, and country, everything is taken from the master data. And if for whatever reason I want to revert back, I can go ahead and I can still click back to the original values which were present in here. Yeah. So why it is important is that not every tool allows you a direct connection to the master data, and I think that it is very helpful. It is very helpful to have it for the future, like corrections and for the learning side, that you are learning not only and you are extracting not only the information on a document, but you are also extracting based on the master data available. And then last part of this verification station demo, where I would like to show you how we work with the CVs and any different less finance-oriented documents. Yeah, it is very important because here we try to predefine as many fields as we could think of what CV could have. So here we have a work experience, education, skills, teaching, publications, awards, etc. Even though not every CV has it yet. So green tags are showing you where the information is present. Yeah, so here we have some header information at the very beginning, the contact information, etc. Then we can go to work experience and we can see, for example, in the work experience that the last engagement is still ongoing. And then it extracts all the information about the name of the company, then about the role or title, dates of the engagement, and if there are responsibilities mentioned, so it also extracts the responsibilities. And education, teachings, etc. So it is structured in separate tables. And why I'm showing it to you is that you should not think of it only in a very basic structure of like header information and the line items, but you can have multiple tabular information as well as multiple header types of information present. Yeah, so this is very important. For now, I will close many tabs, but maybe as we have this experience open, I want to show you one more thing. Let's see if it is already in. What I expect is my tool at some point will time out. So if I click here, it has the session timeout. Why it is important is that when you open the document, it sets the status in progress. And when it is in progress, other colleagues are not able to open this document. So it will say that some other colleagues modifying this document and you cannot enter it and do the correction. But the point is, imagine you go for a coffee and on the corridor walking for a coffee, you meet the colleague who invites you for lunch, so you forget about it, you have a document open. So we have a parameter which is a session timeout, which after a certain amount of minutes, which can be a variable which you can define, will time out the session and will allow user to do the other users to do the changes. Yeah. So all the sessions which were probably longer than 5-ish minutes, they're now timed out, and other users are able to do corrections with them. Yeah. And so let me open also to check. Okay. And good. So if I open the session twice, the second time it says the session is already active and some other users is doing it. So you can have a look in the view only, but you prevent this way that two users are modifying the same document. Okay, so this was about the extraction experience. So this is how your users would correct the documents if anything needs to be changed. And then imagine that you are doing all those changes, but then you're curious how the results are, if it is getting better, how it is improving or not improving, etc. So we have decided to have some basic reporting out of the box, and you can decide yourself what information you want to display in here. So you can build the reporting on any of the columns available in this this table. Moreover, you can add your information from the document into this table. So you can decide that, for example, you want to have invoice amounts extracted as a one of the metadata. And then you will be able to build a report, I don't know, the correlation between the vendor and total amount ordered or something like that. Yeah. So here are some samples of the basic reporting, which is, by the way, interactive. This is another thing that we can go ahead and, for example, say that we want to have, I don't know, only automatic types shown here. So I can click, and now it shows me only automatic documents or manual, etc. So it is not only the static filters that you can look through, but these are dynamic filters that you can interact with. You can apply different sortings, different filters, etc. So it is really user friendly to understand your data. Yeah. So we have also other different formats of the data visualization. And later, if you're curious, we can have also a custom build reporting for you in here in a tool, which is, by the way, included in a price. Or we can also send the data to your business intelligence system, be it Power BI, Tableau, Click, wherever you are using for that purpose. So that's the reporting part, and we continue. So the next thing in my presentation is the configuration. And here, as Nike is saying, just do it. So our motto for the configuration was just prompt it. And what I mean by that is that all the setup of the document layouts, of the fields, of the tables, etc., is done with a simple human language. So you do not need to do any coding to implement the document types, to implement the fields, or maybe even business rules like calculation of the total amount or line item amounts, etc. So let's have a look how that part works. If I scroll down here, I have also this like document types. By the way, we are calling it parameterization. Yeah. So our parameterization consists of several document types in here, and you can easily create your document type. I will show you how it works. Let's have a look on the document on the invoice. Yeah, so I'll open the invoice, and my invoice consists of vendor name, invoice number, etc., etc., etc. Probably I will open some, and we will have a look in what sequence the fields are. So you can define in what order the fields go, and in the same sequence they will be present in the document. So here you can see vendor name, invoice number, IBAN, and the same information actually you can see here. If the name is self-explanatory, that's just enough. But in some cases, you may want to add also additional comments to the information like currency, etc. And you are able then to do it in here. We support different types of the information, drop downs, checkboxes, etc. As well as here is a separate configuration for the table items. Yeah. So for example, this is not just one field, but it is a tabular field. Yeah. So it is a type table. And this type table consists of line item description. So we can have it here. Line item description, line item price, quantity, and amount. And exactly the same thing you can see in here. Description, price, quantity, and amount. And if you need to add anything else, you would just go ahead and add it here, write the name, add the prompt if needed, and that's it. So it is relatively easy to configure that. What else do we have in here is column which decides if the field is mandatory or not. Yeah, so you can decide what fields are mandatory, which not, and then there will be a possibility to also set up the business rules and pass rate depending if you want to let only documents which pass all the fields, which have all the fields present to pass, or you say if all the mandatory fields are present but non-mandatory, some of non-mandatory are not present, you can still set the rule the document will be passing. And then I want to point your attention to one more type of the information or of the fields, which is code. And this will bring me to answering the question which was raised before about if it is possible to translate if it is possible to translate items and translate the output information. So if you would like to translate output information, for example, I don't know, we have here vendor address. So we can say that any information, I know that it is probably not the most useful field for this translation. Any info in this field shall be translated to German as an output. Yeah. So once I write it, and it can be, I don't know, for contractual information, etc., the output, which will be here in a field, would be automatically translated, even though here it is in Slovak. Here, the outcome you will get in English or German or whatever language you define. Yeah. So this is how it works when it comes to applying additional layers of the documentation processing. Moreover, there is one last thing which I want to show you. It is this code type. And this code type is something what usually we decide not to show. So you have the possibility of show or not show in a document. This show means that like sometimes you may get the fields which are in the backend, but they are not shown here in the extraction. And part of it is also the rules and calculations. So for example, here we apply two rules. One is that we are checking if the total amount, including tax, plus total amount including tax is equal amount without tax plus tax. Yeah, so it is one type of calculation, or another calculation we do is that sum of all the line items is equal to the total amount. Yeah, so and sometimes you may have an issues with, I don't know, like some 1 or 2 cents or like decimals, etc., that the amount is not matching 100%. So it would then, where you would see it, it would then show you this information in a comment saying that some of the validation rules did not work. So let me just quickly show you this information. It would show you that some of the validations did not pass. Yeah, so in the document flow here for the end user, we would leave this comment that something was missing in there. You have this automatic processing disallowed because even if some of the documents are having 100% pass rate, we by purpose disable it for the demo purposes so we can show it. But where we would have any of the calculation not working, it would say that, okay, the total of all the line items is not equal to total in the document. So it would point your attention to the user. Okay, so we are getting closer to the end, so we can still start, you can still continue writing your questions, but I have a few more things that I would like to show you. So, and maybe one last thing about this configuration, where we can use it. Yeah, so you can create your document types yourself. Yeah, so it is not only for the field configuration, but if you, for today, you are processing 3 document types with us, so invoices, CVs, and credit notes, but you also want to create the purchase orders, you can either go ahead and create a PO, or you can duplicate already the existing layout, rename it, and go in and start configuring it inside. Yeah, so you can then change the fields, remove some fields, etc., and configure it yourself either from scratch or by interacting with the system. And where it is useful is you can create your document types, you can configure fields, you can, and this is where it starts being interesting, you can apply the changes in the layout yourself. We can split it into admin and non-admin users and give your users an access to configure the layout yourself. And also you can choose from the configuration what data you want to see in the reporting. So you can just tag some columns and say, I want this columns to also appear, or this information from the document appear in my reporting. And last but not least, you can experiment. So you can play with prompts, you can play with extraction and see how it works. But what if I tell you that it is possible to achieve all this configuration of the particular document type in less than 10 minutes? So I have prepared the demo for you, and this is the last part of the demo. We have agents created for ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot, which are able to create a document type out of the box without you writing even any single word. So how it works is, let me show you quickly. I have two documents. I will use two documents. Let me just quickly bring them on. So it is one. I will use this document. It is, I think, the delivery note. And another document, let me just have a look. Another document will be the invoice. Both we used in a demo. And what I will do is, so I have this agent prepared, which you get whenever you engage with us, you get it without any extra charge. And I will do two things. I will drop this delivery note, I will drop in here, and I will use the thinking model. I can use standard or extended thinking. I think standard is enough. We're using GPT-5 model. And once the document uploaded, I will just click on processing, and then it will start. We will give it a time. And then another one for the invoice, I will drop the invoice here, but I will say that only header data and total amount needed. No need of line item extraction. Yeah. And then this is the faster model. So I will trigger this one, and let's go back to our thinking model. As we can see, our thinking model is still thinking. I will just try to re-upload the document while this one is being processed. Here, I will try to re-upload the document again. Let's see if this time it is faster. Okay, document is being uploaded. I don't provide any comments, so I do not provide any comments. Just click on it, and you will see that, okay, I forgot to switch the model, but it's not a problem. We will try it again. You can see that it creates for you fully the document layout from scratch. And here also we can see the process behind. Yeah, so you can see that it has the prompt already built in, and it knows what to do for you without writing any information. It would go ahead and create and understand the document type, and it would go and suggest all the fields in there, yeah, as well as it will realize that there is also one table. So it is the first document. There is a table, and it will suggest all the information which can be extracted from the line items. Yeah, so we are speaking about this document, and it says that, okay, here are the columns which I could have extracted for you. So here they are listed. Even though the document is in Slovak or Czech, it was able to provide all the instruction in English, but you can also change the language. And here is the second demo where we say that only header data, no need of the tabular data. So it say the tabular, it will skip, and it will provide you with the document type, and then it provides you with the parameterization, which you can just by one click copy, and by the second click paste into the tool itself in here in configuration, and you have the parameterization already done. It follows exactly the same structure as we have. So we have the field name, description, type, order of the data, and then if it is mandatory or not mandatory. All right, and we are approaching the end of the presentation. So with this experience, I will now accelerate a bit because I assume that there may be some questions. While I speak, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Now is the best time to write your questions. But how the overall experience would look like, we OCR the process, we OCR the document, then we understand them. And I want to highlight, we do not use GPT for understanding of the documents. We use Azure OpenAI. We are also able to work with the different LLM models. So if your company is using mainly Microsoft and Azure, we would refer to that model. But if you are using Gemini, for example, we can also replace it with a Gemini. Then optional step is the master data. You have seen how master data works. And then we actually, after the extracting of the information, step 1, 2, 3, we go to step, depends, 4 or 5, depends on the situation. Sometimes we go directly to the 4 if there are no rules applied. But if there are any additional business rules, based on rules and extraction level, it goes to automatic or manual verification. Yeah, and then speaking of the step which is missing in there is we also have inbuilt classification. What means classification? That the tool is able automatically recognize what type of the document we are working with. So it is something what I was showing in here, that it would automatically be able to understand the documents. And moreover, it is able to understand even within the pages. So you may have a document which consists of 3 different pages, which I was showing, and it will understand that the page 1 and 2 are invoices, page 3 is a credit note. So you will be able to understand, the tool will be able to understand it itself. And then we wanted to change your experience from this old waiting and struggling, etc., into really minimal amount of documents needed for training, fast training and fast implementation itself. We can have up and running model for you under 8 hours. So if you're curious about the demo, we do it usually within 1 day, and we can go to production within 1 or 2 days. So it is really fast to deploy. It has really good training mechanism, doesn't rely on any template, and it is you can do any production changes by yourself. If you already have a solution, don't hesitate to challenge us, because we are confident that we can beat your tool in at least 2 out of the 3 areas. So better level of recognition, better user experience and user configuration, and better pricing. Yeah, and this is the last slide for me for today. For now, I will take the last 3-ish minutes to answer the questions. And if you are curious to have a demo on your documents, any type of documents, it doesn't have to be a financial document, but literally like doctor prescription, bus tickets, whatever, you can scan this QR code and you can just drop your email address and the type of documents that you are interested in, and we can have a dedicated demo for you. By the way, for those who are watching the recording, this link will work for longer, so you are able to refer to that one. And if you're interested in a demo, but watching it, I don't know, in winter, summer, any time of the year, we would be able to still arrange a demo for you. And then here is the question, which is very impressive tool. Are there also rules around what info a person can amend to prevent fraud, etc.? Definitely. So the point is that we can decide if on the admin level, what fields are editable, what not, or we can also have so-called skip of the field on the, we can have a skip of the field on the extraction level. So means that it will not be shown in verification experience here, the session timeout, but that's not the problem. For example, if you don't want IBAN to be corrected by the user, you may remove it from here, but it will still return it in the final result insert in the ERP. So you decide what fields to show here, what not. And we also have a possibility to decide on admin level what fields are read only and should not be modified by user. So I hope that answered your question. If there are any clarifications, feel free to ask. And then there is another question, which is, what are the deployment options? So speaking of deployment options, I have one slide in here, which is that we have for now 2 deployment options. And currently, we are doing it on our cloud, so you can have our cloud, or we can have all the hosting done in your cloud. So all the sensitive information, because we are conscious about the GDPR and data privacy, all the sensitive information will be hosted on your end, and only know-how will be hosted on our end. We also have on-prem deployment available, which is, by the way, applicable only for 1 million pages a year and more. Okay, another question is, Okay, no, it's the same question. Another question here is if it integrates with UiPath or any other robot tools. We have a direct integration with UiPath Queues, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, and Power Platform, as well as with Azure ecosystem. By the way, the tool supports API. There will be a technical session where we will be speaking more about the API itself. But as it is a business-oriented session, I did not want our audience to be loaded with all this API discussion. But if you are curious to learn more about the technical aspects of the tool, you can still reach out through the same form I was showing and schedule a demo. But we have API available, so it means that it integrates with any tool possible. Being conscious and respectful of your time, I want to thank you for joining us today and look forward to further interactions with you. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.